Initiate release sequencer. On my mark. 5,
We're on express elevator to hell. Going down.
2, 1. Mark.
Welcome back to the Resupply with me, Garnixor.
Me, DK.
And me, Than.
Hurting people by proxy. No. Bringing people their weekly double tap of all things Space Marines and Laser Force or something. That's probably mostly how it goes. Hello, everyone. Nice to see you guys.
Wow. Maybe don't improv the opening.
Nah, watch me
I don't
go.
know.
Watch me go.
No, that was perfect.
That
No
was
problem.
perfect.
On air critiques. You know, we do those sometimes.
Yeah. Well, it's 6 o'clock. Where I thought this was the JJ show. The people demand Orange Cat.
Orange Cat is right down here.
Black Cat is behind chair.
No.
What?
Orange Cat down here.
I can't tell.
There's
My
no
camera's my
I saw
screen's too dark.
Cat head poke out over here.
No, I don't think so. I think you're wrong.
So finally we solved the mystery. I've been working today on post Nats travel stuff, and
Listen, counting up to 20 is very hard. Steve didn't want to take off his shoes when he was trying to get a list of everybody who was going on the post Nat shenanigans.
it's actually kind of accurate, because I was like, I see 2 lists of people's names, and I've counted it must be at least 10 times, and they don't match up, and I can't figure out who I'm missing. And it was because I didn't want to put people's actual names. I had a mixture of like code names and whatnot. So I don't know.
Mm-hmm. The kind of thing that Than takes through customs when he has his bag full of drugs.
Yeah, exactly.
Correct.
Right.
Exactly.
How's the week's been, guys? Have you had a nice week? How was your?
Boy, what a week!
What week?
I mean, my week's been good because I've been off for a chunk of it, so you know.
Yeah, this is another thing. He was like, I've taken some leave. I'm like, why don't you push it like 4 weeks? Take a week of leave at the end of July instead of the start. Doesn't make any sense. Clearly not committed.
Fuck off.
He probably should be committed, but that's a different story.
That is entirely a different story. But also, fuck off, Steve-O.
DK went around with the death stairs. We're gonna get there. We'll get there. We'll take the scenery to get there. So like we always do. We got some laser tag stuff we're gonna talk about, because apparently this is, a laser tag podcast. But
really,
and one of us actually played laser tag this week.
2 of us actually.
Actually played laser tag this week.
Yeah.
Well, fuck both of you, then. Just just fuck both of you. That's
some people are just less
committed.
committed to playing tag. Laser tag stuff on Than's Therapy podcast.
Hey,
it's not wrong.
I mean,
yeah.
Laser tag is my therapy, so really it's all of our therapy show. The rest of you are just along for the ride.
That is entirely accurate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was watching. I used to listen to a lot of Kevin Smith's podcasts, because he does like 50 in any given week, and his initial podcast with Jason Mewes started as a way of keeping Jason Mewes clean and sober. So it's basically same. It was his therapy podcast. It's our therapy podcast. You get the idea. Laser tag, you don't play that thing. That's for nerds. Correct.
Guilty.
Correct.
Guilty as charged.
Yeah. But we got to playing, but we'll do a quick check-in. So Nats is just around the corner. I don't know if you guys know this, but Nats is just around the corner. Nats.
No.
Nats. Just around the corner.
Internats.
I've been frantically. What's Nats? I've been frantically organizing stuff behind the scenes. Everything is coming along swimmingly. The maze is basically ready to go. We're in the process of working out how to connect the internal cameras. So we'll have some internal cameras for Nats. There were a couple of changes that got done, which I think we talked about last week. But essentially, there's a piece of perspex that got put in that we've definitely going to cover during the week, because the reflect shot that it creates is horrendous. It's so brutal. It basically turns the only other sort of resupply point into somewhere that you
A shooting
can't,
gallery?
Oh yeah, you can't hold in there now. If you have someone competent attacking the one side, it does.
Well, so it won't be a problem then. We don't have any competent players.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
don't worry
exactly
about
right. It's on you'll see it when you come over. It's in the green disco side, in the doorway stallion that leads into red disco where blue base is. Stupid. We need to
it.
change
Maybe
these
rethink
names
those
up.
names there, buddy.
Yeah. But you could basically shoot from that heavy spot into blue disco, but it also means commanders can stand there and or even scouts could stand there and shoot unsuspecting heavies, take 3 out of them, and then run it. So, yeah, there's a change.
We here at the Resupply do not condone reflect shots.
Yeah. It depends if I'm the heavy standing there giving them out. I don't mind that. Yeah, if I have to take
it's okay for Steve to use them, but he doesn't like to be on the receiving end.
100%.
It seems like a 100% totally fair interpretation of how these things should work.
Well, we before one of the games we were like, okay, we're not going to use the reflex shot into disco, okay, guys?
Lies.
No reflex shot. And then I got pinged off there, and immediately I was like, oh well, fuck it, bang, 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 bang. And it was.
You hear the tone lock. It's just you can't help it.
Can't help it. Yeah. You're gonna pull the trigger.
Yeah, honor system for don't use this amazing shot in quotes. That just never goes well. It just does not. No matter who you're playing with, like it just doesn't. Because yeah, like DK said, you hear the tone lock and you hear tone lock pull trigger. It's fucking ingrained in us.
Well, it was like in 2019 where we had the house rule that you weren't allowed to use a reflect on the red ramp in Detroit.
Yeah.
And I had to make Soul penalize me because I 100% used it because Josh was attacking my resupply, and if I know that Scythe is coming in and I get a tone lock all of a sudden, you think I'm not gonna fucking shoot? I'm on like extra hair trigger alert.
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh, there he is.
I think we had there was a similar one in Sacramento, or was that just a reflex shot that you could get? It was on
there was an actual mirror in part of the downstairs.
Not that. Like shooting off mirrors is fine. That's fair game. There was
legal.
I thought there was one shooting. I can't remember the name of it now.
Oh, there on one of the walls that we had that was on a swinging door. There was a small little crack in the left side of it where it was theoretically possible you could shoot through it, but really, really unlikely. We just said don't shoot through that. But it never came up during the tournament. I don't think.
We played a little bit over at Game Over, which is the other site that we play Space Marines at, and we'll get there, Stallion. Hold. Oh, happy affiliate anniversary. That's right, boys. This week is our anniversary of this channel becoming affiliate on Twitch. So way to go, you guys. Yeah.
Do we get a bonus for that?
No. I spent all of your earnings from the channel on these fancy wristbands for Nat, so that'll be what your
fine.
What your
you
payment
can put all the pennies I've earned on this show toward whatever I owe you for the merchandise for Nats.
The wristbands are sponsored by the Resupply podcast, so again, thank you boys, appreciate it. So we played a little bit over at Game Over, and part of the arena is built using shipping containers, and the shipping containers have been painted with like a black paint, and it's sort of a matte paint, but it's definitely not as matte as it could be, and it is reflective. And there's some parts in one of the kind of resupply areas where there's these walls that they've put inside there, but the walls don't connect to the outer walls, and there's a gap about yay big between them where the resupply stands. And
that's big enough.
Yeah,
that's big enough to shoot through.
You can technically shoot through, but we play gentlemen's or gentle people's rules for those gaps. And so far, like, people have kind of honored that. They're not ping and reflex off those ones, but that one's a dirty one, real dirty. Hate it. Yuck. Right. We played lasers this week. All of us played lasers this week. There was no exceptions. That's right. Two of us. Sorry, Than. 1, 2. Two of us played lasers this week. That's good counting.
Everybody going to Nats played lasers.
That's right.
Okay, that's valid. That's fair.
I'm gonna talk about my one first because it's far less interesting than DK's one. So we had another members night this week. We had a couple of people again not able to show up, so we were playing like weird training kind of situations where it's 4 on 5. I think we played a game. It was 4 on 5, and my team, it was like the resupply, the heavy, and a scout. So we didn't have a commander. And then we played one where we had a commander, but we didn't let the commander drop we said don't drop your nukes until the end of the game. Not ideal. This close from Nats to not be playing 6 on 6 Space Marines. But it was still...
It is not.
It was still, like, better than nothing, I think. And I had a really fun night. It was really, really good to be playing, like, some challenging Space Marines. Especially when we kind of stacked the other team. We actually had, I think, Morange switch out to the other team and, like, attacking our, like, core resupply. So that sort of stuff was...
I say we take off and nuke the entire site from orbit.
Interesting.
We did that kind of thing.
We did that kind of thing, yeah. The new maze is playing really well. The carpet is just such a massive difference. It's so nice to run on.
It's amazing how that works. I mean, I know we've mentioned it on the show before, but the first time we went to Syracuse, and that was the first time like playing in a laser force maze that had carpet. Yeah, it is amazing the difference that makes on your ankles, knees, and hips, especially for how many people that are in this tournament that are old.
Geriatric.
Yeah. So that was back in 2011. Imagine how much nicer it's going to be in 2023.
Well, so it's not...
Which, if my math is correct, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Steve, as you are the mathematician on the show, that was 12 years ago.
Yeah, that seems right. Probably. It's not quite as delightful as the cloud in Syracuse is. Like, that is by far the best running surface you'll ever run on in a laser tag arena, in my opinion. Ours is pretty good though. It's not. It's you look at it and it doesn't seem like it's anything, but just the difference between running on a carpet that's like that thick versus running on straight concrete. It's huge. Makes such a massive difference. So yeah, your knees will absolutely be thankful, Stallion, that you get to run on carpet. You'll probably last maybe 3 games instead of 1. Nodo, you'll be busy
that's a 300% improvement. That's not bad.
Nodo, do you know how to strap knees to make them not weep every time you take a step? Because my knees, they wail more than I don't know, one of the kuya doing a karanga at a marae. There we go. That's a reference for all of you New Zealanders.
I understood several of those words.
Yeah.
Those were definitely all words that sounded very beautiful, but they were all words.
Whoosh.
Yeah.
Wail more than a medic playing against them. There we go. That's way more relevant. Thanks, Odin. Appreciate it. But my lasers exploits this week weren't anything special. DK, you on the other hand, you went on a bit of a expedition from what I understand.
An expedition indeed. Yeah, so we had a little plan to get some of us to travel out to St. George to maybe grab some games. And since we were getting everybody on our Nats team all together, said, oh, that's great. We can get some kind of practice. Maybe not a full 6-on-6, get all 6 of us together, because it's not like we necessarily have another team to practice against that's a full 6. But hey,
right,
running some drills, putting on a laser tag vest. That all seems like a good idea. So I land in Las Vegas, get their rental car. I'm getting real excited. Kadama's coming with me because he needed a ride from the airport. We are not 5 minutes onto the freeway towards St. George. We get a group call. It's from Caleb. I can't pick up because obviously I'm driving, but I can hear it out of Kadama's phone. Caleb in like a somber tone. Well, guys, I have some bad news. Laser Mania has been shut down by the health department because they got flooded over the weekend, and we only found out today, and their sewage backed up again, and so we can't play there. So I was just like, oh my god, I literally just got off the plane. What the fuck we're gonna do? But hey, fortunately, there is also a second laser tag facility in the area in Cedar City, which is just up the road. By just up the road, I mean it's like another hour drive, but hey,
45 minutes. It's not bad.
I thought it was like
Yeah,
an hour and a half.
It,
no,
no, it's like 45
no,
minutes.
I think it's like 50 or 55 miles from St. George to Cedar
Right.
City. But since the speed limit on a good chunk of that is 80, and let me tell you, it is fucking weird just seeing speed limit 80 miles per hour. I'm like, this is a trap. Like you're gonna have cops that are like waiting just around the corner. You're like, oh, okay. Yeah, so but it's just up the road a little bit. But having heard from other people, including Than, who have seen this arena, Than, what would you say about the prospects of Cedar City as an SM5 arena?
Oh my. Suffice to say that I've been in some death trap arenas over the years. Like I've been I've seen a lot of arenas. I'm old. I've been to a lot of sites with a lot of different systems.
Braybrook was fun.
Yeah,
that
I do.
That was up until I went to Cedar, probably the worst set of death stairs I've ever seen.
Yeah. For those of you in chat who ever went to the Braybrook site in Victoria, very similar level of death in that arena to the Cedar City arena. I think Cedar City is actually worse overall, but there's several people in chat that I know will understand the Braybrook reference. I have a very clear memory of the first time going up to Cedar City to see the wonderful thing that Brandon and his business partners had bought, because it's fucking exciting. And I remember like just walking through the arena and looking at Brandon going, are you fucking kidding me? And he's like, yeah, we're gonna have to rip this whole thing out and replace it. It's not good. It's like
Who thought that was a good idea? Whoever built that. It's not structurally it seems sound enough. But
yeah.
Well, unlike here in California, where we have like safety rules and regulations, it's the Wild West out in Utah, and you can just build whatever you want.
Well, and kind of the other thing to understand for people in chat, it's like the laser tag arena in Cedar City was they took essentially a movie theater, because the family entertainment center that they have has a multiple movie theaters in it also. They took one of the movie theaters and made that the laser tag arena, which means that it has that theater slope towards the front, and they didn't do anything to level that out, really. That exists still, along with stairs, and the ramps I don't remember being overly steep. Like the ramps are kind of like, yeah, okay, these are ramps, but
no, I disagree. That ramp is like
well,
a fucking 45-degree angle.
Okay, well, I didn't actually like play a game in that maze because I still had whatever the old system was at the time, and it wasn't really working.
Delta Strike,
so
right?
yeah, something. It was basically something. It wasn't working well enough, so they weren't running stuff anyway. So it, obviously you've been there more recently than I have. If there's a 45-degree ramp in there,
One of us actually did play laser tag in there.
Okay, well, if there's a 45-degree ramp in there that I missed, fine, cool, whatever.
It actually might not have been there when you were there, because my understanding is they kind of built that ramp as a test project for how they were gonna like build a couple of different things. Because, well, we'll get to that segment in a little bit. There's still some experimentation and testing that's going on with exactly how they want to construct the new arena, and we got to do a little bit of a dry run on some of the concepts. But yeah, so that's Death Trap feature number 1. The whole downstairs is like built on an angle. So normally I'm like going up for a shot and I'm like, why does it feel like I'm like leaning to the side here to try to take this? So set of Death Stairs number 1. There is a random raised platform, which I think actually kind of helps to sort of smooth out the grade in the floor so you don't notice it as much. But there's a random platform like right in the middle of the downstairs. It doesn't do anything, and it's a complete obstacle. It is the worst place in the arena to be. You would never, ever want to actually like get up on it. But there's a small little set of stairs going to each side of that. So there's, a set of Death Stairs, number 1, along with the uneven floor, stuff like that. Then on one side of the arena, there is a little staircase that goes up and then splits into 2 other flights of stairs in like a little Y staircase. On one end of that, it has another little set of stairs that goes up to another hallway that they've constructed. So that's at least like 3 flights of death stairs to get up. On the other side of the field, going up to that same platform, there's another longer set of death stairs. I think those might have actually been carpeted, so not the worst. Other death stairs, oh no, not so much. They all have a nice little metal strip on them that will absolutely annihilate you if you trip and fall on them. And then, of course, there was the aforementioned 45-degree angle ramp that made Chula Vista's ramp seem wheelchair accessible by comparison.
Do you not take any pictures of video?
Those were... no, I was not good about that, unfortunately. I'm sorry, I did not collect some photos.
I think we get real excited whenever we turn up to places, and we're just like...
Forget about it.
Forget.
I took photos at Zion when we went there, but that's Zion.
That's different. And yeah, Stallion, I'm shocked that after all this time you expect any level of professionalism from this show.
Well, we have people affiliated with the scene who live there who could get us pictures anytime we want. So Snuffles or Caleb or Thunder, get on it and put some pictures in the Discord just so people can see what a lovely arena that you have.
I just went back through my phone to check, and the only photo I have is myself in Inferno wearing the old suits in the armory. But yeah, I just remember it kind of reminds me, when I think back on it, it reminds me of like when you get action movies like Blade and stuff from the early 2000s, and they're set at a nightclub, and they always have like the towers in the nightclub with people like dancing on the towers and shit. That's kind of what the inside of that arena reminds me of.
Yeah. That's a good analogy. I like that.
Yeah.
Which all of that is good. Now we need to add one more wrinkle. Is upstairs basically is a series of connected platforms and catwalks and things like that. Is the ground uniform on any of them?
Nope.
No, there are random step ups and step downs. And when you're running across it, the whole thing kind of shakes a little bit. And you're like, I feel absolutely great about this. 100%.
Yeah.
So, thinking back to it now, I'm like, okay, we have 3 weeks to go until we're going to be competing in a major laser tag tournament. I've already seen members of my team get injured just starting a regular game on flat ground. Why suddenly, like, with my age and wisdom and experience, I didn't be like, guys, this doesn't seem like a very good idea. I don't think we should play Space Marines in this arena. No, I was way too hard up for it. I'm like, no, I'm getting all the games that I can. I don't care if this arena is a death trap. We'll just go slow if we need to. We're gonna play some laser tag. And we did. We played some Space Marines 5. We discovered some interesting things. One is that I think they already have made one addition to the arena where they knocked out a little space that it's kind of overlooking the arcade. They built an extra hallway where they've housed the red base. It actually has a nice little resupply cubby in an area that's pretty defensible. It is the only defensible area in the entire arena. Everywhere else, you can be shot from pretty much everywhere. Because even though you have this upstairs and you have a nice little half wall perimeter that runs around it, there are just random metal grates instead of actual half walls that are there. So you can just shoot beams right through them. They did also open up what essentially used to be the emergency exit from the theater. And just kind of by agreement, we agreed that, well, you can go around that corner to use as an extra resupply spot just so it's slightly more protected, things like that, which was kind of a fallback spot for a lot of people. But there were also a lot of reflex shots and things like that. So we learned very quickly that red side was absurdly stronger than green side because they basically got to start in that little cubby upstairs and pretty much never had to leave. Because as we discovered later on, you didn't even have to go downstairs at all if you didn't want to. You could hit both of the enemy targets from upstairs, no problem. So you could just turn it into a shooting gallery.
That's so brutal.
Yeah. So the first couple of games, we're just sort of feeling things out, and one part of me is like, man, it really sucks we didn't get to play at Laser Mania. I was looking forward to playing at that site again, getting some proper Space Marines practice, stuff like that. But as I started thinking about it more and more, and I mentioned this to my team, I'm like, I actually don't think it's the worst thing in the world that we essentially had to go play Space Marines in a brand new arena, because really nobody had ever played Space Marines there at all. I'm like, yeah, we're going to be going to a new arena in a few weeks. We're going to have to learn stuff quickly. So maybe like getting our brain clicking in a new direction and like looking for, okay, how do we like maximize this terrain? What can we do? Where are some other fallback spots we can have? Are there any things we might have missed about this arena? So actually it wasn't bad. And we played, I think, probably 7 or 8 games the first day that we were there, all Space Marines. Some of them not bad. Shockingly, one of the games even went to time. I think it was a 5-on-5. But between the two like semi-defensible resub areas, the medic survived long enough that the game actually went to time. So that was interesting. None of the games were really proper per se because there were alterations. People tried to be a little bit kinder if people were going up and down the stairs and not just like missile them, because we didn't want to encourage people to take unnecessary risks and things like that. And shockingly, there were, pretty much. Yes, aside from Josiah's poor shorts. So Josiah did happen to tear his shorts in, shall we say, an inconvenient place.
What, in the back of a Volkswagen? Good reference. Solid.
Let's just say the undercarriage, so to speak. So fortunately, Josiah still had on his boxer briefs on under that. Otherwise, we definitely would have seen both of the bagels and the fear turkey on that one.
Oh, wow.
He's waiting all day to make that joke. All day.
I guess I should have gone with the bagel, the cheeseburger, and the fear turkey. But you guys
whatever. Nah. I like what you went with.
Yeah. So, but other than that, we really didn't have too many incidents. There was this, of course.
Yeah.
There's also a few other bruises I won't show you on screen, but you can just take my word for that one.
You got bruised.
But where green starts was basically at the bottom of that Y intersection of stairs. And I wanted to, of course, get upstairs as quickly as possible because we have to overcome this huge tactical deficit we're in against red. So, I cut the corner absolutely perfectly to get around the staircase. No problem. I'm great with spatial awareness. I never run into anything in the laser tag arenas. However, what I forgot is that wisely, this staircase, because it's rather steep, has a nice little handrail on either side of it so you can use to use that for your grip. The handrail sits right about here, actually, if I'm crouching down trying to run up the stairs. So a nice little circular handrail right there. Oh boy, what do you know? It seems to match that shape exactly. So yeah, I basically ran into that as close to full speed as I could coming around the corner. Immediately bounced off of it, like bounced backward into Autumn, and she was like, "What did you just do?"
You're like, I fucked up. I done fucked up. This is gonna
so that hurt. I think actually the game before I had also managed to split my thumb on the opposite handrail, so you can see that. But
now, just so you know, Shawnee,
nice little collection of bruises.
These jokers, these jokers giving you shit before we started the show today that you couldn't hear, being accident prone. I think you might have to eat some of those words, my friend, because yeah, I know exactly outrage.
Yeah. I think Shawnee was basically acting as like the sin eater for the rest of us. So like any of our potential injuries just got like bounced backward through time onto some just random Tuesday where she was walking down the street and tripped over air, and I was like, where the fuck did that come from? It was a temporal disruption that was caused by us playing in the Death Trap Arena. So sorry, Shawnee.
How loud was it running up those stairs?
So loud.
Yeah.
So loud.
Yeah.
There was no sneaking around anywhere
Yeah.
in that arena. Because like I said, every time you would like move on the second floor, it was just like
yeah. Yeah, I think that's probably what told it sound like construction. It
Yeah, I can see that.
It terrifies me. Like, I was just walking up those stairs and it was bloody scary. We're talking about them now, Gibbo. Talking about them now. Talking about the death stairs.
Yeah. But the death stairs did come in handy another way because, like, when we discovered there was no real, like, good place to resup downstairs, I was looking for little things. So I'm like, oh, maybe if we're on that Y intersection of stairs, like, if I occupy one part of it and I put the medic basically at the corner of the other one so they can get around the corner if they need it, maybe we could do a little bit from there, get a little bit of visibility and stuff like that. And like I was having no problem crashing on the stairs, but Autumn doesn't have a great back, and she's like, I'm terrified I'm gonna fall if I do this. I said, just sit on the stairs, it's fine. So I made a nice little handy seat. So you're playing medic, you can just have a little sit on the stairs, no problem. Yeah, they're comfort stairs, not death stairs.
Depends on how fast you move. Yeah, it's actually an interesting thing because we in the lead up for and actually I was talking to Baden kind of about this. I heard from Baden this week. He was just asking me about the arena and stuff, and he made a comment about how he's like, do people even go upstairs in our maze? Because it seems like, because he was like, oh, did the neutral target get moved from upstairs or something? And I said, yeah, it's downstairs now. He's like, oh, well, why would people even go upstairs? And I was like, people go upstairs because that's the best place to resupply in our maze. I think he thought that the wall was still in the discos. And I was like, we haven't played with dead end those dead end resupply spots since basically Nats 2006, since the totem pole. We took that wall out and then never put it back.
It burned it in some sort of ritual sacrifice.
Yeah, but part of the reason we did that was because we had heard that in Ballarat's maze, Ballarat didn't really have any dead end areas didn't even have any dead end areas to hold a resupply, and so we took that wall out, partially because stupid totem pole, but also because we wanted to push ourselves. We took upstairs away, and we played our arena where we didn't have any one way in, one way out resupply points to get used to being able to do a resupply with multiple entry points and potentially being able to resupply on the run. If you get flushed from somewhere, it's easy enough for us to go somewhere else and kind of sit back up and defend that point. So you guys doing that was probably a good exercise in that, where you can get used to, all right, that's not a traditional resupply point. How do we hold this? So yeah, it's good training in that way as well. I think. Ballarat.
Yeah, I think just having new situations is kind of a good exercise for your brain in that regard. The second day, we came back and walked in the arena and discovered that Eves had pulled some plywood and 2x4s out from their construction area. Was like, okay, let's see if we can make any alterations here real quick to see if maybe we can make a second resupply point or something like that. And I was like, well, honestly, aside from the fact that the stairs are a death trap, there were elements of the field that I thought actually were interesting. It's on the smaller side, so I don't think it would be competition viable as it is. But I'm like, if you just got rid of like those grates, the vertical grates that are acting as half walls around the catwalk on the second floor, I actually think it wouldn't be too bad. At least for somebody like me who can crouch low enough to get below that, and I can still move around without getting shot and that kind of thing.
Speak for yourself.
So, yeah. maybe not everybody, but probably would play great for me if they just got rid of that. But we decided on one part of the second floor, basically in the opposite corner from where red resupplies. It's like, let's try to make some places on the opposite sides. We can kind of have teams that are going back and forth in that area. So we just took 2 sheets of plywood and just made a nice little L-shaped cubby like that. So that way we could have another resupply area. And so we got to do a little makeshift construction that I'm sure is not approved by any kind of code in the state of Utah. But hey, at least something. We put up one there, and then we put one downstairs right next to the green base. There's another little cubby there. So like, okay, at least there's 2 places now you can duck downstairs where you can't just be a shooting gallery from everywhere. So we have the exit door, and we have a little spot by green base, and hopefully we got this area that's upstairs a little bit on the opposite corner from where red resupplies. That was all well and good until one game when Aiden, who I both am very happy he's on my team because he's good at figuring things out, but also is the biggest scumbag in the universe because he discovered some absolutely filthy reflex shots onto this plywood, because right next to it, so we have our little L intersection, like right over here, there is a barrel that's made of some semi-translucent material. Using the grates from underneath, it was quite possible to stand in not 1, not 2, but 3 different corners downstairs, point through the grate at the barrel, and bounce shots directly into the medic spot where that was. So Snuffles had the unhappy duty of playing green medic in that game, and there were at least 5 times where he's like, I have no fucking idea where I got shot from, and it's like I'm already down like 9 lives. It's 3 minutes into the game. This is some bullshit right now.
I would be downstairs just like
yeah, like gleefully he was like running around from one spot to the other and just pinging one medic hit after the other. I think he ended up with like 11 medic hits that game. We looked through. God. And I think that's only by virtue of the fact that the enemy commander actually nuked. I'm pretty sure Aiden might have been able to get 17 or 18 if we hadn't had some nukes.
Wow, they're gonna figure out
absolutely filthy.
They're gonna figure out some pretty excellent ones in the Auckland arena, I think. There's a couple of yucky ones. Not to that extent. That's pretty brutal. That's almost as bad as reflecting off the roof of the Brisbane arena into the resupply point.
Pretty much, yeah. So we're just like we thought we were creating a new resupply spot. Instead, what we made was a new death trap shooting gallery. We basically created a spot that was tailor made for the medic to sit there and be murdered by the other team. I'm like, oh great, we really have our work cut out for us. So
true story, dude.
It was an idea, but it required some time. I'm like, okay, maybe if we get rid of the barrel, and stuff like that. Okay, no problem. We'll just get rid of the barrel. Maybe like get that reflex shot. So they had to get a ladder, and like it was like screwed into the floor from the bottom. We're like, how did they even get this fucking barrel in here? Like unscrewing the barrel, Eves takes everything out from underneath. We try pushing on the barrel, it doesn't fucking move at all. We're like, is it like bolted from the other side? We can't see what's going on. So Caleb just starts kicking the barrel a couple of times to see if it'll move. The barrel's actually in 2 pieces. It's actually 2 barrels that are on top of each other. The top one pops off, clatters onto the ground. Other than, like dropping the shampoo bottle in the shower, one of the loudest sounds in the universe as it reverberates off of this floor. Stuff like that. And we still can't move the bottom barrel. Now to add to that, we noticed that the way the barrels were attached, there were 4 incredibly sharp screws sticking up at an angle that are coming out of the barrel that are now fully exposed right there. So I can only imagine trying to steady myself running into resupply and just, completely impaling my hand on that. But we managed to actually like unscrew those from the other side. That was no problem. And then we finally just started, we're like, well, the barrel isn't moving. It's not, we can actually rock it a little bit. It's just really heavy. What the fuck did they put in there? There's like rocks and shit that are inside of this barrel to make it impossible to move. So we just rolled it like maybe a meter away into another corner. And that seemed to solve some of the reflect issues, but it was still pretty. It's like, why the fuck is this barrel here? And now there's death screws and all kinds of stuff.
Wouldn't it have been easier just to cover the grate? Or
that was my initial suggestion. They wanted to build a full corner, though.
Easier still, just agree not to take that shot. because that's one you have to try and aim at, right? That's when you have to line
yeah,
up.
that would have been nice. Aiden.
Yeah,
Would have been nice.
Aiden.
We just had an agreement not to use reflex shots, right?
Just don't use that shot, and then you don't have to worry about kicking over barrels and whatnot. You know.
Yes, but then we wouldn't have this wonderfully entertaining story of, as Tails says in chat, nerds figuring out construction. I mean,
In your defense, only one medic hit was a reflect. I don't
lies.
yeah, it sounds like
That is
shenanigans.
fucking horseshit, Aiden, and you know it. That is complete nonsense. Now, like there were places where you could also shoot the medic in plain sight in that corner if you shot them from green base, but there was all kinds of shit that was bouncing off there. Plus, it made it that it really wasn't a very good resupply spot because the resupplies would bounce stuff off the walls into each other, hitting other people.
It's amazing. It is amazing how reflective unpainted plywood is. I remember
apparently.
I remember when some of the initial construction additions were done in Sacramento with like the adding of the ramp from like the second castle to the outside ramp, and then for the longest and we had like 2 or 3 members nights before that got painted where it was just the pure plywood, and people would be up on that bridge and try to and crouch down, be fully out of sight, and you could still reflect them from multiple different places. That got better once that got painted, but
I think we use like blackout paint specifically that was meant to be like ultra absorbent.
Yeah.
Just as a quick PSA, Odin, there is a shot in the Auckland Arena where you could shoot from green base up and over into the resupply point and disco off of an air vent. That's an illegal shot in our arena. Don't shoot that shot. You're not allowed to do that one. No reflect off the roof. That's a bullshit. Krakening is Caleb, right?
I believe so, yeah.
Yep.
So the E-door hold that he's talking about is that also going into that exit hallway that I told you about, there was another pretty filthy reflex shot that essentially anybody who came into the one corner that you needed to turn to get in there, if people were pointing their guns to the wall, they could definitely hit you. So one of the games that I think went to time was Aiden as ammo and Kodama as heavy, basically just holding that corner, and every time Caleb tried to get in, he would just get put down instantly as soon as he got to the corner. It was like, and it broke his brain, like he just said in the chat. It was pretty filthy.
Yuck. As a heavy, I love me a reflex shot. But again, only when
unless it's being unless it's being used against you.
Exactly.
Unless it's being used against you, and then you're not so happy about it.
Reasons I die in video games, fucking bullshit.
Yeah. If it's been used against me, the other person is clearly cheating. So, that's how that works.
So I guess the operative question I know that Brandon had mentioned that they were going to be, basically doing a tear down of the arena and rebuilding it. Did they happen to give any sort of indication during this trip of like when that's going to happen? Because I feel like once that does happen and the arena is no longer a fucking death trap, there needs to be a pilgrimage to Cedar City to break the new maze.
It's Cedar Silly right now.
Yeah.
It is very Cedar Silly. Yeah. Well, part of what, because we also played one game of Laser Ball on the second day, and that was when we discovered exactly how many ways you could hit targets from upstairs without having to go anywhere. Because people were scoring some fucking gnarly goals just from random ass places in the field. So that was pretty epic.
It seems to me that if you were gonna if you're gonna put a competition-esque site there, you kind of need to have it so that it's similar to ours, where it's just mazy and it's 2 levels, and there's maybe a ramp on like each side of the wall maybe they look the same. I don't know, but there's a ramp on each side of the wall that you can transition between the bottom and the top floor. But otherwise, you can't shoot between the floors. Like, I think that's probably key, is just have it as a giant maze. Because then you can utilize the entire space. You can put a roof, essentially, on the first floor. And that way you wouldn't even really need to level the floor out. You could utilize the slanted floor. It's not a big deal.
I think they are planning to level the floor.
I know, but then you
well.
actually lose a lot of space. Like if you utilize the slant as part of the ramps on either side, the whole middle kind of slants out, but who cares? Like I don't know, it just seems like a waste of space, but what do I know?
I don't know, but my understanding is that they have some additional space to expand into. So the arena is actually going to get larger than it is now as well, which is also
Nice.
a good thing.
Cool.
But yeah, from my conversations, it sounded like they're really thinking tear it down, start over, because just salvaging what the existing stuff is just not going to work. It would be at least as much work as just building it from scratch anyway. So they're just going to knock it down.
Yes, and if you're there's no point really maintaining anything from that arena. There just isn't.
Not really.
I mean, you've got,
like I said, it was a fun challenge. I'm glad that we got to do it for 2 days, and playing any kind of laser tag was great, and I really appreciate the Cedar guys for having us there, because if we didn't have it as a backup, I would have been real sad on this trip.
Yeah,
for sure.
I probably would have spent more time in their gorgeous national parks, but that's not why I went out there. I went out there to get some additional laser tag practice before Nats. We did still go to Zion the second morning, so that was nice, because I'm not going to pass up a chance to go there and have a lovely hike in the morning before we go do stuff. But yeah,
I think so to answer your question, Shawnee, Utah St. George had put their hand up to be the Nats to be hosted after Auckland Nats, which obviously was supposed to be 2020 and then 2021 respectively. I would imagine that if given these circumstances, who knows how long St. George will be closed for. Hopefully not permanently, but who knows.
I think St. George is kind of out of the running, because the members who would be organizing that event are mostly located out of Cedar City.
Yeah,
now.
exactly.
So
that
Cedar City,
what I'm getting at is that it's probably going to be Cedar City, and if that's the case, then I would imagine it'll depend on, firstly, if Thunder wants to host there. I'm sure he does, but I don't want to put words in his mouth. I don't see it.
I will.
Yeah.
I mean, we talked about it several times, but I will still nonetheless put words in his mouth.
And then the second, what's up, dog? 35 bloody months. What's up, Baden? Lads. Then the second thing is, can there be a Nats appropriate maze built in time? And that's the main thing.
So to come all the way back to Than's question, in terms of a timetable, no, I couldn't give you any specifics. I think their hope is to start the teardown pretty soon. So it's possible, depending on the speed of construction and design and 100 other things. It could be ready for next year. I can't rule it out.
Well, look, if it's not, it's an interesting conundrum, and we'll talk about this once we get through Auckland Nats. But
hey, we built a new resupply point in like an hour. How hard could it be to build a laser tag arena? It was like a week. Yeah. Don't worry about it.
How hard could it possibly be to do actual permitted construction? Yeah, that's.
But yeah, it does raise interesting questions, and I'm sure, like, obviously, Loveland have put their hands up. Loveland basically got to host the mini Nats recently. Now that doesn't mean that they aren't, considered to host the Nats. Historically, it's been, Southern Hemisphere, Northern Hemisphere, Southern Hemisphere, Northern Hemisphere, to make it fairer for those who have to travel. And given that we are hosting this year, obviously, it makes sense that next year it goes to the States. But there has been requested that we look at Europe as an option, and whether we go to the UK or whether we go to Germany, or even looking at the Czech Republic as potential locations to go play. The drawback is that you kind of hope that there is a either an active Space Marine scene, or if there is a historic Space Marines scene. And by that I mean, like, whilst Wellington don't currently have an active scene, Wellington had a members scene at one point. So yeah. But yeah, so that's kind of,
It can give Rusty one more reason not to retire. You gotta
well, to go back to his OG. Well, it's different now, I guess.
Well, I was saying by having an ads in Europe, but yeah, maybe
Oh,
Wellington
right.
also. You never know.
Well, I hear Minotaurs is closed. So.
Oh, I'm really sad we're skipping Minotaur.
I can't find the
on this
video.
road trip.
I can't for the life of me find the Minotaur video. I have to watch it. I have to go.
No,
back and
may
find
it
the
only
episode.
live on in urban legends.
But yeah, it's you're totally down for baguettes. Yeah, well, I mean, that's one part of Europe. Not that
It's a part. It's a part that's on fire at the moment.
It's getting racist up here in the resupply. They all eat baguettes over there. Which, I mean, yeah, who doesn't love a baguette?
Yeah. But like
It's
it makes sense that Cedar would be the host if they're ready. And I think that if it ends up, I know it also depends on where people want to play. Like,
I think it's likely to be in either Cedar City or Loveland
Correct.
next year. It just seems like the most logical kinds of things, and sites that have said we would like to host if the circumstances are right.
that's right. Yeah.
As in,
Sorry.
we have an arena.
Because then after that, you're looking at like if you let's say it goes to Utah next year, then after that, where does it go? Probably
Prague.
Probably Europe. If not next year, then the year after, and then the year after that. I mean, I don't have to worry. I'll probably be long gone by then. But probably Brisbane or
dark.
yeah.
Jeez.
Melbourne. I mean, Melbourne sidetracked is gone, and unless people are wanting to like build up a site in Melbourne, it's unlikely to be there. You kind of need players that actually,
Play.
Obviously, the odds of a European Nats goes up the more. Well, I mean, this year we know Lucy and Marcus are both coming over, but theoretically next year, if there were like full European teams, like a full team in the Czech Republic or a full team from Germany that came over, I think that would dramatically increase the odds that we would see a European tournament sometime in the near future, like the next 2 or 3 years versus maybe like 5 years out or something.
Well, because you need a site that's happy to host, like, and the best way is through the players for that to happen. If we as a community that have very little affiliation to any European sites, if we're like, hey, we're coming from America, Australia, New Zealand, can we come play at your site for a week? And they're like, what the hell's a Space Marines? So it helps when you have an active, or at least some active play, dude.
I know. I'm very unprofessional right now. Sorry.
Bong.
More any sites in the UK suitable. So, so one of the issues that we run into
sorry
with the UK and it will end up being an issue, pretty much anywhere in Europe, but UK especially, is the person that owns the sites in the UK that would be the most suitable for tournament play is adamantly 100% opposed to the international rule set. So
That
you
decreases the odds of there being, well, I wouldn't say of there being a Nats, but of getting any significant participation from the U.S.,
I
Australia,
have
New Zealand is very,
personally
very low.
no intention at all playing a tournament that doesn't play by the international rule set. I've done it once, and it sucks. It sucks so bad that it made me
Well, you
cry.
played like 2 games in that tournament. I had to play a whole week.
Okay, but also I had to spend significantly more money to get there than you.
It was so bad that Steve chose to fake an illness rather than play in that tournament.
Yeah, you should have seen me. I even faked hallucinations. Wow, it was such a good job.
Yeah, so at a high level, like that is one of the biggest barriers to a
there needs to be
tournament.
agreement on the international rule set for there really to be a, I don't want to call it sanctioned because it's not like we're official, but we're official in the sense that we've been affiliated with a particular like set of Laser Force tournaments for the last 30 years, essentially. So in order for that scene to like continue, I think there would need to be agreement on the international rule set.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is a much longer, different conversation.
But like I said, if there were agreement on that, and if we had, maybe more European teams by next year, I think that, like I said, it would dramatically increase the likelihood that we would see a European Nats sooner rather than on more of like a 5-year horizon. That's all I'm saying.
Maybe there's, it's oh, dude, no international rules again. Battle Medic Lenny is back, baby.
The pop shot and medic.
It is it is a real shame, but maybe there's a case of, hey, look, we're wanting to come and patronize your establishment for a week. You guys don't have to play if you don't want, but we'd like to run a tournament. Here's the rule set we're going to play by, and worst case, just take our money, let us do our thing. But you want the locals to participate. That's the thing, right?
Yeah. Otherwise, what's the point? Honestly.
Yeah, true. What is the point? I think we'd have maybe more luck in Germany, because at least we got 4 or 5 Germans come to the series.
No, for that St. George tournament.
We had a full team from Germany to one of the West Coasts, where we ended up only having 3 total teams, and one of them was from Germany.
Yeah.
Which in and of itself actually made it easy enough to help teach them the game. It was not 4, it was 3.
St. George, Chula Vista, Sacramento, Germany. Remember how was that whole big deal where you guys leapfrogged Chula Vista in the semifinals?
Right.
Yeah, it's been a day for shoddy mathematics.
It was supposed to be 5.
Blacked out, just like Steve and Chula Vista.
It was supposed to be 5 or 6, and it ended up being okay.
Yeah.
Oh no, I know what it was the U.S. team count was 3, and the U.S. team count was supposed to be 4 or 5.
Classic Americans.
Typical American,
Classic.
only counting Yanks. The rest of the world doesn't exist.
World championships, only Americans are playing.
Odin, I did play in that tournament, and we had to deal with Tal, and that was fucking terrible.
The World Series of baseball.
Moving on.
We technically have Canadian teams, so whatever. It's the world.
Half the players are from Cuba or the Dominican Republic anyway, so it might as well be World Series.
Classic. You can just keep spinning that yarn. But yeah, maybe that's the closest to a European competition that we get is going to Germany to do, because from what I can gather from what Lucy has said, the Czech Republic aren't interested in Space Marines, let alone our rule set. And
because she hasn't been given the gospel of international tournaments yet to take back with her.
Well, she's not going back. She's going to stay out here.
Thunder.
She's going to move to the Southern Hemisphere. So whatever.
It's fine.
Yeah, but we and we'll go more into it once we actually get Auckland tournament out of the way, and we can do far more speculation about where the next Nats should be.
No, we need a 5-year tournament schedule now, Steve.
No, we don't.
Yeah.
Well, we can just make one on this show. We are just going to exercise our full powers of dictatorship and just declare where the next 5 tournaments are going to be.
Yeah, this is not a chairocracy, people. Okay.
The Illuminati has spoken.
yeah, that's apparently what there is. The shady tournament committee organization. Bong!
What you guys should just be used to the American media just creating its own reality.
Whereas that's going to be in 2077. That's not my problem. Global warming will have kicked in by then, so.
So it will be on a very high mountain. That's one of the few bits of land left, I guess.
Yeah.
So maybe Cedar City.
There you go. There's your answer, Odin. You're welcome. Right. Was there anything else that you want to talk about that happened on your trip?
I don't know there was a lot else that was laser tag related, but there was like an incredibly hilarious gas station ad that I happened to see when I was driving back to Vegas the second day. So I don't know if you guys have them in New Zealand, but at the gas stations or petrol stations.
Petrol stations.
I know you have petrol stations, but like on the pumps,
the gassy.
While you're pumping gas, they decided in America that experience isn't annoying enough on its own. So they have a little screen now that will play ads while you're pumping your gas that you cannot turn off, you cannot turn down.
No,
yeah, like on the little screen.
Oh, yeah, we got that shit. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, fair. So that's not just a bug of American capitalist hellscape. It's also the New Zealand capitalist hellscape. Good to know.
So yeah, okay. We should do. Oh, this is a great idea for an episode actually, because I keep putting stuff in the group chat for the after net shenanigans, and I keep using words that people are like, what the hell does that word mean? What is arvo?
Arvo, petrol, kilometer.
Servo.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, servo or gassy
Bong.
is the it's the petrol station. Sorry, gas station. But maybe we'll do a
Kiwi to English
New Zealand
dictionary.
slang. You should know.
Steve-O's guide to talking good.
Arvo, afternoon, petrol, gasoline.
Yeah.
Cunt. Insert whatever noun you want.
Dog over. Did I did tell you that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
Good.
several
Dog
weeks
over
ago.
cat.
But so anyway, so this ad, it was for like the Utah the Utah Wildfire Prevention Fund or something like that, where you just see this dude who like comes out with a shotgun and it starts very serious and this little kid is like, "Pa, what are you doing?" It's like, "Well, we're gonna find out today whether you're having a little brother or a little sister." And he gets a shotgun and he's like gonna shoot with this giant balloon for a gender reveal party, I guess. So he shoots it, and like the shell just like ricochets off the bottom of it, and it like hits the grass, and a bunch of sparks fly, and like this little fire starts over there, and like out of nowhere, this like female park ranger just like pops out of nowhere, and she just starts like spraying it down with a fire extinguisher and starts writing him a ticket, and it's like we love our guns here in Utah, but you have to use them responsibly. Only you can prevent wildfires. It's like, this is the craziest fucking thing I've ever seen. I'm like, how much more fucking classic you get? Where you have shotguns, gender reveal party, just random people popping out of the grass. It's like this is just what the Utah experience is. Like, this should just be like your tourism brochures.
That's so good.
Wow.
That's fucking funny.
I don't even have words for that, except to say, yeah, that tracks. That tracks. Okay.
But I had the same thought as you, Steve. And it's like he has his gun. Pa, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You have a little sister. I'm like,
What?
You use guns for that in Utah? Like, I want to see where this is going. That's the first I've ever been captivated by a fucking petrol station ad. I'm like, I need to see this entire thing. I wish I'd recorded it.
It cuts to the wife I actually don't. No.
No. Whatever.
No, that's the Black Mirror version.
Yeah. No, don't worry about it. Oh, goodness me, that's a bit. Keep your gender reveal firefighters out of our Mormon forests. Oh, that's really funny. Oh, my face hurts.
And on that note, I don't know that there's anything that is going to top that. That's just.
I don't think we have that ad here in
awesome.
New Zealand.
What would the New Zealand version be? It's like there's a little kiwi like running around, and we have to see which balloon it's gonna peck to see what the gender reveal party is.
Hey, Dad, what are you doing? Oh, just waiting to see if it's a boy or a girl, and then nothing happens. They just do this.
Sounds good, mate.
Oh, true. Only you can prevent firefighters. Firefighters? No, you don't want to prevent firefighters. They're a plague here. Can't get too many firefighters here. Constantly. I started a barbecue, right? I don't know if I said. I've been on this like wood chopping pilgrimage, I suppose.
It's a good workout.
Yeah, they just so many firefighters walk past the house. They're like, wait. So yeah, they're a menace.
To see you.
Yeah. Goodness me. Well, it sounds like a good trip.
It was a good trip. So
Yeah.
thank you so much to Thunder and Caleb and Snuffles for hosting us, letting us come play. And it was good seeing Josiah and Judah and Azra from Loveland also came out.
Awesome.
So, and it was great because that rounded it out. And we had at least 10 every time that
Perfect.
we played, and we had a few other people from the St. George area come out and say hi and play a few games. So that was cool.
Nice.
Just wanted to clarify that we are no way poo-pooing your arena. Obviously, things.
I thought that was obvious from the context.
No. Sorry,
I
let me rephrase. Poo-pooing the fact that you opened up your home for visitors to come and experiment in.
Oh yeah, we love that.
Yeah.
No, but the arena itself, like, I don't think, yeah, Brandon has said since day one that their arena is not good. And
But all of
needs to
us,
be
like, after we
redone,
played
so,
a couple of
yeah.
games, we're all like, maybe it's okay, right? Like we were
Dude,
trying to like talk ourselves into it, like maybe it's okay, right?
honestly-
Like it's okay.
It's those types. You're just happy to play Space Marines in a new place. Like we get the same
100%.
thing at Game Over whenever when we first started there. I was like, I don't know about this, but like, and also the other site at the ice skating rink. Like after you've played there a few times, you're like, actually, it's got its charm. There's certain things about it you really like.
Yeah.
And you get.
But
to
I feel like that was
Space
after
Marines.
day one.
Yeah.
I was gonna say after day two, it was more like you were trying to like really psych yourself up for this sequel that you thought was going to be great, and then it's not very good. But you come out of the movie, you're like no, that was good, right?
was it.
That was good. I think you
It was
watch it
okay.
again, you're like, nah.
It was acceptable, maybe.
Yeah. Again, we had a great time. I am glad for every game we played, and that the worst that happened was I got a nice little bruise, and Aiden tripped over one of the uneven surfaces on the upper stairs and just got a little knee scrape. But it sounded real bad when it happened. Like I was expecting him to like fully fall through the floor like Mankind Hell in a Cell match style and just be sprawled out on the bottom, and it just would have been awful.
You see, like, you standing up above, just staring down at him. Goodness. All right. Well, look. We're probably going to get out of here. We'll let you go enjoy the rest of your weekend, whatever it is that you guys are doing. It is my lovely wife's birthday tomorrow, so we're going to go hang out and do birthday celebrations, which I'm really excited about.
Happy birthday, Caruso.
I'm gonna clip that and send it to her.
Please do.
Perfect.
Put it on her soundboard. This week, we played a game the other night called Dave the Diver. It was awesome. So we're gonna try and play that. I think we'll play that again on Wednesday night instead of building Lego. We're gonna play through that a few times. Maybe that'll carry us through to Nats. Thunderdome should be making an appearance again this week. We will be back with the Resupply podcast next weekend, although we might be down a DK. DK is sort of a busy little beaver until you end up being here, I think. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Next week, maybe the week after, definitely not, and then I'll be in New Zealand.
Oh,
So.
oh, it's so close. It's so
close.
close. I'm so
Yep.
excited. But at the same time, there's the little empty pit at the back that's just like, oh, but then it'll be over, and then what? And I'm like, no, you shut up for now. You go away.
Trying to deal with that, but that similar thought occurred to me.
Yeah. But I'm so excited for this trip. It's going to be basically 2 weeks of like hanging out with a bunch of you, awesome people. Getting to see DK in the flesh, which I can't wait, and obviously, Tham will be at new heights of FOMO, I think. But you know, it is what it is. I'm so excited. I'm so very, very excited. It's gonna be great fun.
I am genuinely excited for everybody who is going.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's gonna be great tournament based on the teams that are there and lineups. The post-match shenanigans look amazing. So I'm excited. I am genuinely excited and happy for everybody that's going.
We're gonna
good time.
We're gonna try. Oh, I had this vision in my head of shooting a documentary during the week of Nats, and I was like, it'd be best to film like one team's journey throughout Nats, but like my team aren't playing at the moment, and it's kind of too.
We'll fix it in post. It's fine.
Yeah,
we'll just pretend that it was the lead up. We'll just change clothes a couple of times. No
but
problem.
like, I had this whole thing of like, oh, I really want to shoot, but like, there's way too much shit to do whilst we're there and be in the moment to worry about doing that stuff. But we'll try and
if you weren't playing in the tournament, maybe that would be an option.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, I might convince Baden to still come and he can replace me on my team, and then I'll just spend the week filming and making content. Might work out all right. Nah, I wouldn't do that. Yeah, exactly right, Stallion. And I did think about maybe who do I know that would be keen to do that. Don't think anyone. But it's going to be real soon. There's going to be lots and lots of stuff to come out of there content-wise, and we're going to try and like still do a daily podcast after the day's play. We'll try and be live on Twitch as much as we can over the week. Maybe 2 weeks. We might even do daily Twitch streams whilst we're out doing fun shit as a crew.
Steve will be knocking on my hotel room door at 10 p.m. being like, we got to do a podcast. And I'm like, fuck off.
Yeah. Please leave me alone. The brownies kicked in. But yeah, so there'll be heaps of stuff. Keep your eyes on the channel for the next month, because the build up to Nats is going to be fun, and then Nats is going to be even better. It's going to be wicked.
Epic, one might say.
Epic. But for this week, I've been Guy Next Door.
I've been Bruce DK.
And I've been Than.
Always remember to backtrack, kids. Get yourself some travel insurance, and we will see you next week. Ka kite anō.